Hey guys, how's it going? Value Venture Investing here today. So today we're going to be talking about Virgin Galactic and why the stock is just getting hammered. We're going to go through their financials. I'm going to go through their conference call quickly, and I'm going to give you the reasons why I think the stock is getting absolutely decimated. Taking a look at the stock right now, as of recording, this is down over 12%. And keep in mind, today it was down like 5% as well. I've seen this as low as down 15% today. This is a stock that it just ran. I think it was late December, and it was just going crazy. And now it's coming back to earth, so to speak. So first of all, let's take a look at their financials here, the brief financials that I usually include for you guys. If you see my videos before, I have all the way from Q1 to Q4 of 2020, and of course they have the Q4 or the full year 2020 results in. Again, this quarter, $0 in revenue, even though they said that they were expecting some from that NASA payload, but we will get into that. So that's disappointing. Net income was negative just over $74 million loss. Slightly better than Q3, but it was still accelerated from these. But of course, they're focusing on doing these test flights and getting up into the air, so that's to be expected, but still not great. The one, bright point would be cash, almost $666 million. Still pretty high, but again, we're down from $742 million last quarter. But of course, Q1, Q2, we're still higher than that. They were building up. But I have a feeling they might need more cash than that, and we'll get into that later in the video as well. Deposits remain about the same. This was the quarter between these two I was originally worried about in my last video when I said, why are they dropping? Because we saw this, and I think it spooked the market. But those have stabilized. And of course, their future astronauts has remained pretty steady. So those, probably are not going to be so relevant going forward right now. So let's take a look at their conference call, and I'm going to go through some of the insights that I found on there. So of course they go over the 2020 achievements because this is the full year results. If you recall some of these, it was kind of nice actually to go over it again to see the chronological order of things, how they go, because I'm going to explain that, especially what happened with the test flight and the test flight failure later in this video here. They transitioned space flight operations to New Mexico, of course. That was quite a while ago. They conducted the 2 successful glide flights, and we are aware of that. They also cleared 7 additional FAA verification reports with just 2 remaining. So that was kind of big news. I remember talking at the time that that was positive. So they demonstrated commercial demand with One Small Step program, which led to approximately 1,000 participants. Now we don't have that either, but we have future astronaut community, and it remained at about 600. So we've seen the deposits being pretty stable as well, right? And then they also strengthened the balance sheet with a successful fundraise. They talk about this a little bit on the conference call, that they will take advantage of market conditions as they come available, meaning they will dilute. However, come on, that's to be expected in a growth company that has 0 revenue. It's just starting out kind of thing, right? Conducted a test flight on December 12th. Of course, that was a failure. We'll get into that and what's going to be coming next, just briefly here. They continue to make progress on their fleet expansion. And they realigned the company to a functional structure under the Virgin Galactic brand in preparation for growth. So they gave here a little bit of a recap of their flight test program. So they had first flight, second flight, third flight, what they want to do. Of course, the first flight didn't make it to space. It was supposed to be a rocket-powered space flight with 2 pilots, and it was also supposed to have revenue-generated payloads under the NASA Flight Opportunities program. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. The second flight is supposedly going to be a rocket-powered space flight, full cabin of mission specialists and 2 pilots on board. And of course, the third flight is going to be a rocket-powered space flight. But the key thing here, of course, is Sir Richard Branson's first space flight. And after that, they're saying they're going to be opening up sales again. So to kind of demonstrate the viability. Hey, look, he did it. And it says demonstrate the private astronaut experience. The one thing that we all want to hear about here is the first test flight. What happened? Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit later on the board as well. But of course, they were first scheduling around November. In Q3, they were saying they were going to push it to fall. That was about November, and then ended up happening on December 12th, 2020. And they're saying the flight delivered learnings and success despite not reaching space, demonstrated strong safety first culture and safety in the spacecraft system. Okay. And it's sort of like blah, blah, blah here, right? But the main issue they had is they identified EMI, which stands for electrical magnetic interference, as a root cause of the rocket motor controller reboot. So they're saying that the rocket motor lost connection. So they're saying they implemented corrective actions. So basically what they're saying here is like, hey, we think that we fixed it, and it was just, they're saying on the conference call, this is a pretty typical thing to happen with space travel, something you think that they would anticipate, but of course there's always going to be issues. But then in February 2021 here, when some people I think were expecting it was going to be this weekend or something right like that, again they uncovered additional EMI impacts during the pre-flight preparations for the February 13th. So now they're in the process of modifying the flight computer. So this does not bode very well for the company in terms of, this is supposed to be like last November, and they're still having these issues. So this is a huge reason why, of course, the stock is down. But we'll get a little bit back into that again here on the board in a little bit. Again, a little bit of a recap here on their markets. They're saying that their spacecraft is built to serve 3 markets. That's a private astronaut, which is the main thing a lot of people talk about, future astronauts and stuff. Microgravity research, both human and also payload only. So they've been focusing on that. That's kind of like the NASA agreement, and also what I'm going to mention here in a second. And also professional astronaut training, when you're suborbital and stuff like that, right? One of the big news things, which is, it's kind of similar to NASA in my mind, they announced a confirmation of Italian Air Force flight. So they're saying that this is a revenue generating event. And of course it's going to demonstrate their capabilities for human tender research and suborbital astronaut training. But again, before this can even occur, we have to fix the issue that I just talked about. So it's great to see that there's interest in this, but of course we have to reach that. We have to fix the issues at first. So then they go on to talk about the future a bit. They're saying a new spaceship is coming soon. They're going to say this is along their Delta line, I believe, Spaceship 3. So they're saying this rollout's going to be on March 30th, 2021. And they're saying that the second spaceship starts ground testing after rollout and goes into flight test in the summer. Of course, we still got to get this flight test from the first spaceship, but that's their timeline for now. And they're going to begin the assembly of the second vehicle in the Spaceship 3 class, which I think that they're referencing here as the Delta. They're calling it Delta spacecraft. Again, they start reiterating the 400 flights per year per spaceport. So if you're a bull, that's kind of what you're focusing on going forward. They're investing in manufacturing facilities, processes, and partnerships. But in addition to actually designing and building and starting to test these new spacecrafts, they're actually going to be doing new motherships. And the new mothership they're saying is going to be able to do multiple flights a day. So higher capacity, more efficient, reduce, more reliable turnaround time, and scalability. So this is all stuff that of course remains to be seen. The bears are going to say, yeah, right, you guys can't keep a target, and the bulls are going to say, well, when this comes about and we have all this capacity in place, this is going to boom, right? And then they started talking about leadership, new people that are coming in. I mentioned this on the last video that I made. This is a part of the business that makes me really bullish. They're bringing in all this talent. I don't know about this first guy here, but the second one, Stefan, he's over 4 decades at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, which is absolutely, fascinating, right? Because the technology that came out of Skunk Works was just incredible. If you're into this kind of stuff and you follow that, it's something that's very interesting. So it's nice to see this kind of talent come in, and it also bodes well for the company. Of course, the news that came in as well today was a new CFO, Chief Financial Officer. The one thing I notice here is that he has some experience in capital markets. So I'm thinking, obviously they're going to have some cash going forward. So this guy's going to be critical in terms of being able to get capital to fund their operations. They're also talking about advisors, world-class advisors. Again, it's kind of interesting to see the people that come in. You know, Joe Rohde here, he was 40 years at Disney Engineering. He's going to be an experienced architect. So that's going to kind of go to the end of the experience where they're, you know, bringing people into the spaceports and giving that experience for the families to add revenue generating things to just not just the, you know, the space flights, but also the experience as well. And again, here with Blair Rich, she was previously the president of worldwide marketing at Warner Bros. Like, so these people that they're bringing in, it's like the marketing of this company is going to be incredible, and potentially the experience. And again, the last guy is, you know, he was previously the head of global strategy and business development for Disney Parks, as well as chief commercial officer for Disneyland Resorts. So it's like all these Disney executives coming in. It's almost like they're, you know, they're going to have an experience like Disney Plus or Warner Bros. Or something like that. I don't know, but it's exciting. And then they also have a space advisory board. I know an analyst was asking questions about this, like, why do we need this? You know, what's going on with this? But I think it's a good thing. It's to provide advice to senior management on commercial flight service, next generation vehicles, and magnifying the positive impact of democratizing space, if I can talk here. And of course, some of the people that are on this advisory board, George Whiteshields, who was just, you know, just the CEO and no longer is. And we have 2 former astronauts. And also another individual from Boeing. The one that sticks out for me is Chris Hadfield. I believe because he's Canadian, right? I'm Canadian as well. He's an astronaut. So to actually have the astronauts in here, you know, 2 of them, Dr. Sandy Magnus and this individual, and also having this former chief scientist and Boeing Defense Space and Security Director of DARPA is very, very interesting. And it remains to be seen, you know, how much these individuals actually, you know, contribute to the company. But this is the part of the company that makes me the most bullish in terms of the talent that they're bringing in. So to give you guys an idea why I think the stock is tanking, we went through this, but here it's kind of chronological. Q3 of last year, people were expecting, and they pushed it back to fall. To most of us, I think that doesn't necessarily mean December, but then it went to December. And of course, I believe it was December 11th. They had the failed test flight that we talked about just briefly here. And now they're saying May, right? So, and now people are going to be wondering, well, is it even going to happen in May? And of course, the one thing you got to keep in mind is that NASA payload that was supposed to be, I believe it was supposed to be in December. I'm not too sure if they're talking to NASA before December. It never happened. So while it wasn't a significant amount of revenue, I think it was like $400,000 or something like that. The problem I see with that is these companies could start losing faith in Virgin, right? Like NASA might be going, well, why are we dealing with this company if they haven't proven themselves? And so maybe investors are taking note and doing something similar. So is this going to happen going forward now? Nobody even mentioned that. So is it going to happen in May? I don't know. Has NASA given up on them? So, I mean, that's a pretty negative thing in my mind as well. Of course, they said Branson was going to go in Q1 2021. But of course, now, is that going to happen? I don't think so, because we're looking at May for the test flight, and then after that, Branson's probably going to be going. So this was a huge driving factor for the stock, right? And now that's a huge disappointment. And then it's not until after he does it that they're going to open up the sales again, they're saying, right? So, yeah, that's pretty negative. They've also closed future astronauts, so they're kind of at the pool right now where, you know, what they're sticking with. They're not really pushing too much further, of course, because they can't. And that's putting a real damper on the company, on the stock price that's been going up and up and up, and now it's starting to pull back. So that's the reason that I think the stock, well, I'm pretty sure, is tanking so much. Financials aren't great. Outlook isn't great. So what I would be doing with it, of course, you guys know, if you watched my first video, I don't think even by their estimates that the company was worth close to what it is. So if it was in the teens again, I might start looking at it. But there's 2 perspectives to look at from this company, right? If you are extremely bullish, you're not going to be worried about this short-term noise, and you're going to be looking to the future. You're going to be looking at all the talent they're bringing in, the potential of all these different aspects, with NASA, with different space forces, with just high net worth individuals, and you're going to say this is going to be huge, but it's going to be a while, right? And if you're a bear, you're looking at this and you're going, wow, that's some negative outlook. That's some negative financials. Myself, I kind of go somewhere in the middle, and that's why I might be interested back at the teens with somewhere around here. I don't know where the stock is now, coming down to about here, roughly what the chart looks like. Because I do see both sides of this. I definitely do. I hate to sit on the fence, but I don't think the stock is worth close to what it is right now. However, in 10 years, maybe it can be. So maybe if it drops far enough, this could be an opportunity. We'll just have to wait and see. But I would love to know what you guys think of this quarter and what your expectations were in terms of what was going to happen. I know a lot of people thought that this weekend was going to be a test flight. No, it didn't happen, right? So let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. It really helps me out, allows me to produce more content. So that's going to be it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.